Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Writers Chat. It's our usual hosts are still away off having fun or coming back from their Italy trip, so we're looking forward to having them back soon. But today, I guess I should introduce myself. I'm your acting co-host, Melissa Stroh, with my fellow co-host, Brandy Bro, and we're here with our Writers Chat gang that we just all know and love, and to talk about all things writing by writers and for writers. And today we have a fun favorite of our group, the writer's journey, where we talk with other writers about their journey into writing and publication. And one of our own today, I'm going to turn everything over to Brandy to introduce our very special guest.
Hi, we have Sophia Hansen with us today, and I am thrilled to introduce her. She's a special friend, someone very dear to my heart, and she's just a wonderful person. Sophia Hansen, let me tell you about her. She is an organic author using no artificial ingredients in her stories, unless absolutely convenient. She writes and edits flash fiction for Havok Publishing, and her debut novel, Waters Break, released in January this year, 2024, to a critical acclaim. Sophia, who resides in the South with her husband of 36 years, can be bribed with good coffee, crispy bacon, and dark chocolate. Although, truth be told, I have never had to bribe her with any of those. Sophia, I'm so glad that you are back with us to share about your writer's journey, especially after your debut novel, Waters Break, which is a fantastic novel. Everybody go look that up on Amazon.
Thank you. Thanks, Brandy and Melissa. It's so fun to be here, and I'm honored and nervous, but we'll keep on going. I was going to try to play the theme music for a certain science fiction show, and but I'll just read it and see if you can guess which it is. Launch Day, the final frontier. These are the voyages of a newly published author. My 3-month mission to explore strange new skills, newsletters, websites, Instagram, Twitter, Discord even, to seek out new venues and new communities, to boldly inquire where I haven't before. So,
Catherine says, I'll take Star Trek for 100.
Yep, awesome.
Got it. 100 what? I don't know, but
dollars, $100.
Yeah, I'll take that. I think my love for science fiction was developed early because I used to watch the original series with my dad. I remembered it was a little black and white TV, and we'd sit together. Well, I'd sit with him while he watched Star Trek, and didn't think about that until much later, but that's probably what helped form my desires when I was looking for story. I always loved the concept of seeking out new life and new civilizations. And I think that has definitely shaped my journey as a reader and then as a writer. So previously on the author's journey, I shared with you guys about my baby steps, those things I did working up to getting published. And you can see them on the video. I also wrote an article called Baby Stepping, and that's in Almost an Author. But there were steps that I had to take to get to the point of being published. And these 3 months have been a whirlwind. They've been scary and exciting, but I've once again learned a lot. I didn't know what I didn't know as trying to become published, and I didn't know what I didn't know as a published author. And so I'm just kind of letting you in on what I learned. So I wanted to revisit something I shared last week, which is fat, the importance of being fat. Fat stands for being faithful, being available, and being teachable. I needed to learn to be faithful. Faithful in the things that were hard, faithful in the things that were uncomfortable, and faithful in the things that just require discipline. I think Tosca has said a couple of times in her workshops, what are you willing to give up to achieve your goals, to pursue your dreams? And that's always a really good challenge for me because I'm a little bit indulgent. As a mother of 5 and then 7 kids, as a homeschooler, I tend to grab onto the things that I enjoy if I have a chance, and I don't really relinquish those things lightly. But I've learned to make different choices and then say, okay, well, in this case, I am going to take a break. I am going to give myself some time to chill, to decompress, so that I can walk forward in the next thing with more energy, with more focus, and let my subconscious mull. So being faithful means doing the hard things. I'd love you to throw into the chat, what's hard for you? For one person, what's hard might be sitting down to write for an hour. For another person, what's hard might be putting together a newsletter. I don't know anybody like that. For another person, it might be going on this video. And I will tell you, this is a little hard. It's a little scary because I don't want to be stupid, but I've learned things. And I want to share them with you because some of you guys are way ahead of me, and some of you guys are running right along beside me. And some of you guys are kind of looking at this whole author's journey going, what exactly is involved in this? So I will say, do the hard things. And what I wanted to share with you does anybody remember that scene from Lord of the Rings when Bilbo is sure that Gandalf is trying to steal the ring from him? And Gandalf says, I'm not trying to rob you. I'm trying to help you. Sometimes people in the publishing community say things that are hard. Sometimes they want us to do things that are scary. They're not trying to hurt us. They're not trying to stifle us. They're trying to help us. It's important to be, well, it's the last one, but it's important to be teachable, to allow people who have earned the right to speak correctively into our lives to tell us things that we don't know or we don't want to hear. Not that I know anybody like that either, because being available means having a community to be available with. You need people ahead of you challenging you. I needed that. I need community that I can be honest with, that I can be afraid with, that I can bounce ideas off of, like, can I share this video clip or not? I need people to round out what I don't know. And so being a part of a community, it's vital when you're coming up, but it remains vital throughout this author's journey. Writers Chat was the first community I joined as a wannabe author. And that was one of the places when I learned to not refer to myself as, what is that thing? They have that phrase. It means a wannabe author, though. They just said, if you're a writer, you're a writer. If you've written, you're a writer.
Aspiring.
Yes, aspiring. You are not aspiring. You are writing. So ditch the aspire and just write. So, and I've been so thankful. I think I joined Writers Chat in 2017. Following meeting some of those folks, it might have been 2018 at the latest, but I have learned so much from this community, and I will tell you, dive into the archives, listen to it. They have helped me learn so much about starting, about continuing, about closing in a good way. So I'm thankful to be here. Other communities like 540 is a wonderful writing community. They're on Facebook and they provide support and cheerleading and just a presence. In ADHD worlds, they talk about body doubling and how sometimes it's just easier to do hard things if somebody is present, not even doing the same thing, but just present, supporting you with presence, not accountability. So being part of 540 helped so much as I was continuing to write, and I am continuing to write. And then going to places like Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference or Florida Christian Writers Conference. I'm going to, and I always go to Railmakers. I love Railmakers. That's specifically for writers of speculative fiction. And my Havok community is just wonderful. The team and the authors who submit, it's a great group to encourage you and to learn some wonderful skills. So be available for the opportunities that surround you. And that's what I needed to do. On the other hand, be wise, but we'll get back to that later. And then finally, be teachable. Listen to the people who have had more experience than you. Listen to the people who are willing to say things. Oops, Windows just did something. Remind me later. Wow, that was weird. Listen to the people who want to give advice. You don't have to always take the advice, but you should listen to understand what people are gleaning from your words or your presence or your presentations, because we can always learn from that. So if any of you have some thoughts on what's hard about being faithful or being available or being teachable, feel free to throw them in there, and Brandy or Melissa will make sure I don't miss them.
Well, we had people share some of the things that were hard for them. Somebody said knowing how to market. Well, actually, Melissa said knowing how to market while writing the next book is our hardest thing right now. What's hard for somebody else is to figure out what to cut out of her life, even temporarily, and what to say no to. Somebody else said prioritizing, discerning the best from the good, from the merely interesting, not trying to cram everything in. Also, learning to do the website and the newsletter and stop death scrolling. Yeah.
That's my problem.
Yep. Somebody else said when someone says that I can't do something, I then want to prove that I can, which is great. Hard for somebody else is trusting. Another person, hard is finishing. Another person, hard is starting. Somebody else said it's hard to write and filter research. Finishing a draft and discovering it's finishing a first draft and discovering it's a draft. Yeah, there are a lot of different challenges for writers. Everybody's different. And one thing that struck me as you were talking was that nobody can be good at everything. We are all going to have something that we are really good at and something that we are really not good at. And there's going to be a range in between.
Yeah. So raise a hand if something someone else said was hard for them was something you felt. I'd love to just see, do the little raise your hand emoji or. Okay, so
there are
we've
so
got
many
some
things
resonance here
that resonated with me as a writer, and I'm sure that quite a few people can say they've been there too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I noticed Catherine's question. What do you do when your brain needs everything spelled out step by step? I would say there have been plenty of presentations on Writers Chat. There's the Christian Writers Institute. There are a lot of different organizations that, okay, Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference has these daily blogs. And I would say that I'm sure they've touched that subject as well. Find a resource like that and just print it out and then circle and check. Circle what you want to investigate, maybe check off what you've done, highlight what you're terrified of. But there are resources out there, ACFW, yes, that have already explained this. So I would say I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm still, like I said, I'm still working my way around here. I still don't know what I don't know. And so I'm discovering it. And I'm thankful to have community to be involved with that help teach me these things. Why is this important? I shared this in my first talk. Bob Hostetler at my very first conference, which was at Blue Ridge, said, God has planted in you a story no one else can write. And there's so much truth in that. And that just really encouraged my heart. And it made me it always reminds me of the parable of the talents, where the master is going to go away and he gives his servants some talents to steward while he's not there. I would say this is a parable. It's not, it's a story Jesus told. And you know what? Sometimes our stories don't reflect the entirety of truth. And even Jesus's stories didn't reflect the entirety of truth because our master never goes away. He doesn't trust us with talents to steward, but he's always with us. He just doesn't always tell us what to do with them specifically. And he's not a harsh master, but he's given us an opportunity to invest in these talents, and our stories are the talents that he's given us, our ideas. And so sometimes we just need to choose that and say, okay, I'm going to invest in this one right now. But the last thing you want to do is, because you're afraid of doing something wrong, because I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to do things wrong. You are not going to be perfect. I happen to be an expert in both of those categories. But we're not called to hide our little light under a bushel. We're called to let it shine, no matter how little it is, because any light that we have has been given to us by the one who spoke light into existence and whose light will never fail. So I would say, take good care of the talent. Be a good steward of the talent, the story that God has given you, because I had to learn to do that. I had to learn to assess my opportunities, to take inventory of my time, to take risks. Farmers take risks every time they plant something. If they never planted because they were afraid of what might happen, they would have no crop. And those things do happen. There are storms, there are droughts, there are cold fronts, and there are failures of equipment. And not every seed they plant is going to be viable, but they still need to be faithful and trust that God will provide the growth. And they need to be faithful to do what they can. So I needed to learn what I could do to be faithful in what I had. I love these resources you guys are throwing out. That's awesome. Look at that chat, guys. So we need two things. We need resilience, AKA perseverance, to continue to try to say, hey, look at my book. Hey, read my book. Hey, send a review. Those are all hard things to do, but there are opportunities if you're not afraid. I mean, when you've done your best on this, you've done your best to make it something that is of benefit to readers and editors and reviewers, then you just have to let it go and know that it wasn't perfect, but know that you did your best. And sometimes you're going to get negative feedback. I did. And I needed to learn notivation. Let my nose be a catalyst and use the negatives for a positive outcome. I needed to learn from the no's and the negatives that were in my world. If someone said something critical in a review, if someone said no to coming to their store, I needed to learn from that experience and to let it strengthen me as I say, what did I need to do differently? Or maybe it's okay. I can take a no. I'm a big girl. I don't need to go crying home. And if somebody didn't like something, I needed to say, well, I can understand why they might see that. And say, I'll keep that in time for the next book. You don't want to pull your book and change it. Not that I had that option anyway, but there are always going to be things that you wish you could have changed or you wish you could amend. Let it teach you for the next time. Let there be a next time. And then use these opportunities to share from your experience with other people. And that's what I try to do. I've always tried to share the breadcrumbs I found along the way and saying this led me to where I could find a meal. So it's important to remember, don't return evil for evil. If somebody says something that hurts you, maybe look at why it hurts you. This total stranger on the internet who said something yucky. Why do you care? One of my pastors used to talk about the fact that people would get upset about their teams winning or lose. They'd get all emotionally invested on whether their teams won or lost, and said, how much power are you giving to an 18 to 22-year-old for your emotional well-being when they don't even know you exist? The creator of the universe and the one that holds everything in his hand, and you are the apple of his eye. He knows your name. He knows every part of your being, and he loves you. He is crazy for you. I like to know another thing they said, God's not mad at you. He's mad about you. That's the person whose opinion should hold the most weight. So that I try to let that embolden me, and I can be foolish. I can be the foolish thing to shame the things that are wise sometimes, because I don't know a lot, but I do know Jesus. So and I said, it's easier to remember that I'm loved and guarded by God, that I can trust him to be my defender, and he's going to work all things for good because I love him and I'm called according to his purpose. So if I keep my theology straight, it helps me to be brave going forward. And this author's journey is about being brave. And sometimes that means putting up a brave front. I am not always brave. I am not always confident in what I have to say or present. But my faith isn't in myself and my abilities. My faith is that I'm going to do what God has called me to do. God says, what do you have in your hand? Moses said, I have a stick. God said, throw it on the ground. So I'm throwing my sticks on the ground for you guys. Ephesians tells us to make the most of our time because the days are evil. I just say, it is true. Weigh your opportunities. There are more opportunities that present themselves when you are published. And sometimes I felt like I had to do everything. And I ran around like a crazy chicken with my head cut off. And my husband has encouraged me to consider what the best investment of my time is. And in this first 3 months, it is really important to make the most of the newness of this. But I also need to make sure that I'm having a healthy balance of my time with my husband, being available for my family. But also, I don't need to have reached the 4,000th level of 2 dots, which I may or may not have done recently. That's a silly little app game. So you doom scroll. I play video games when I'm trying to de-stress. But I need to think, what is the best investment of my time? Do I need to, sometimes I listen to audiobooks. I've discovered that when I'm running my errands, I like to plug into the podcasts, some awesome podcasts that have been encouraging me and challenging me and teaching me have been, okay. Edie Melson's podcasts and Linda Goldfarb's podcasts are so helpful. I love learning. Zena Del Lo is a screenwriter from California, I think. She's got really helpful podcasts too. And it's just good because so many people have gone before me, and I would be a fool to not try to learn from them. I think it's the right something. Maybe the right stuff, but yeah, somebody will look that up for you. I should have had that pulled.
Zena's is the storyteller's mission.
Yes, and Edie's got a lot of stuff. I cannot recommend Edie more highly. She has so much wisdom to share, and she's so encouraging. Amy Wilson, is it Wilson? Amy was just on Linda's recently, and she's going to be at Blue Ridge, but she's a fun friend from Realm Makers too. So anyway, we need to make the most of our time. Yes, Amy C. Williams. Thank you, Lori. It's nice. See, you guys have my back. We need to do that for each other. Y'all are available. So make sure you invest your time on things that are appropriate and beneficial for what you are called to. Not everything is going to be good for you. If getting involved in a specific group is going to shut you down or take up too much of your time, it's okay to bow out gracefully, say, I don't have time for this right now, or this is hurting me. Some of these activities are not going to be beneficial. So you need to be wise. This isn't calculating. It's being a good steward, because we only have so many spoons to borrow from one of those things in the world. Spoons. I like that theory. Anyway, okay, this is a silly thing that I learned to do. Okay, no, the silly thing is later. Hey, silliness is coming. The other thing I did was I stopped into book clubs, bookstores, libraries. I said, hey, I'm going to be doing this. And I had bookmarks printed out, have a good presentation, if you have a website, it helps. If you have a website that's easy to get people to, it helps more. My husband built a website and my son built a website for me, and we just call it watersbreak.com. That's an easy thing to point people to. They don't have to remember sophiahansen.com. Is that Hansen with an O or Hansen with an E? Did they remember the L or not? How do you spell Sophia? Whatever. Watersbreak is pretty darn easy. So I would go, I'd give them bookmarks, and somebody else had said, always carry a copy of your ARCs with you. And that's what I would do. I would share these copies of my ARC with people who I thought might be interested and might have the opportunity to open doors for me. This is not being pushy. This is not being opportunistic. This is keeping your eyes open for the opportunities that come your way. So I would say that. I mean, I know that it's hard sometimes to cold call people, but some people are just really excited about it. I went to a couple of bookstores and it was always fun. The associates at the store were just as interested in finding out about my story as my friends who showed up, and as the total strangers who saw the book signing table, who saw the poster and said, "What's that about?" So people want to learn about your story. People, for the most part, are excited to see somebody start and finish and get out there. So go be feral. Just get out in the wild. People aren't going to be mad at you. And if they think you're foolish, so what? For every person that thinks you're foolish, there are like 20 people who think you're being brave and they wish they could be brave like you. Oh yes, go be feral. That's going to be the quote that gets out there. Small bookstores, local indie bookstores love to feature local authors. If you ask them if you could do a book signing, especially if you've already been there, I would say be generous, share about them, share what you like about them, tell them what you love about this particular bookstore. They will be happy to host a book signing for the most part. Because if you invite your friends, that's more people that are exposed to their business. Maybe they'll buy a cup of coffee. Maybe they'll see some other books they like. So, oh dear, I'm getting afraid. Meme time. So go into these places and stop into the bigger branches. Stop into Books A Million, or Barnes and Noble, or whatever are the large bookstores in your area. Ask them, say, "I'm a new author. I'm just getting published. What's involved in doing a book signing here? Do you do groups of local authors? Maybe if you're indie, just ask. It doesn't hurt to ask." And the people who work in the bookstores are, they're there because they like books usually. So
You know what Sophia did? She went to a convention and dressed up. You have to tell them you did this.
Okay, I will share that. Yeah, go green. And that does not mean recycling. I had a new friend who I met at a NaNoWriMo kickoff. Totally new friend. We were encouraged to bring whatever we had, and we shared our stuff with each other. And this friend said, "Hey, I'm going to CoastCon. Have you ever heard of it?" And I said, "No, I haven't heard of it." So I looked into it. She invited me. I went. And it cost some money, but I already had books on hand. And so I decided I had the time, I had the car, and I went for it. And it was a Comic-Con gaming kind of thing. Oh, there you go. I love that, Catherine. She went to a local restaurant for her book signing because it was mentioned in her book and they provided food. That's awesome. We had to pay for the drinks at our book party, but that's okay. They liked the book too. Whatchamacallit? Oh, so I went to this thing and they had a costume thing and I decided to go in character. And if you've seen, I'm sure all of you have seen, do I not have a copy right here? I don't. Okay, I've got this stuff. If you've seen my book cover, my character is green and she's got red hair. So I went to Ulta and I bought all the green makeup they had. And every Halloween, what I would do is I would purchase the after Halloween, I would purchase the leftover hairsprays because they were usually on sale. So I need to restock up on orange hairspray. And so I would go in character. And if I can, it'll take me a minute, but it's probably in my photos. Oh, it's going to take more than a minute. I don't want to waste your time here. But what I will do is I will, on the writers chat members comments, I'll put a link or I will post pictures and you can see it. But I went in green face and I've gotten better at it. I'll have a before and after because the first time I went in green face was at Blue Ridge. And I have this really hideous picture of me with Steve Lobby, who is not hideous, but I'm all green and he's all Steve Lobby. And now he's my publisher. And so I'm going to try for a second try at that. Hopefully I've learned something since 2018. Who knows? Maybe I haven't. But I went in green face and I put together a costume last minute and I had a hair piece that I had sprayed orange because my character's hair is a vibrant orange. And it was fun. I looked silly. But it was fun. It wasn't inappropriate. It was at a cosplay event. And I got to meet a star of a show that I used to watch, The Outcast. So I got to meet Gavin, whatever his name is from The Outcast. But it was fun. And we took pictures in green. And then I said, "Hey there, do you remember me not in green?" And we took another picture where I was actually recognizable. But it was fun.
I mean,
Different
what
things.
a great way, though, to get your book into a new audience, into a new area. I thought that was brilliant. I mean, so it goes along with what you're saying. Be afraid to take chances and do new things and get out there because you never know what you're going to find and what's going to happen, and great things can come from it.
Thank you. Yes, I
Even
had
if it's
fun.
just that you grew, great things can come from it.
Yes. I think I have another picture of me in that costume and it says, "I don't know how to act my age. I've never been this old before." So don't
That's
have to
great.
act your age. My other thing is like invest in merch. I'm going to stand up. Boom, see? There's my Nika
Very nice.
t-shirt. Yay! I love my Nika t-shirt. I found a young artist whose talent I love. Asked her if she would consider doing some character art for me, and she did. So I have character art, and it's fun to share it. It's fun I will give you guys a tip. Sticker Mule is awesome. I can include a link that gives you a discount and gives me a discount if you want in the writer's chat thing too. But I love Sticker Mule because they have sales. Their deals are really good. So whether you want, I don't know if I don't think we did the bookmarks there, but we do stickers all the time. Okay, let me see. Oh. I should have been prepared with the stickers. Oh, but I will be prepared with the merch. See, I have merch. I have cards. I don't even know who this is. Yeah, it's John at. He's kind of a heartthrob in my story. He has a tough time of it though. But I will say that it's worth it to invest, find deals, take deals, and invest in your characters because then you can give it away. Boop. I love to give stuff away. If people are going to sign up for your newsletter, give them something for it. That's worth it. Give them postcards or bookmarks or stickers or whatever you have. Invest in the merchandise and be generous with it because people are being generous with their time. They're hoping and trusting that you are going to provide them with some entertainment, some inspiration. Ha ha. And I love it. Lori has a Nika shirt. All Nikas come together. But be generous with it. I learned to keep my stock on hand. Several writers have told me about that. Always have at least 1 or 2 copies of your book with you. I've bumped into friends in the supermarket parking lot. Hi, how's it going? Oh, yeah, I saw your book. That's so cool. I couldn't come to your book signing. I really wanted to get one. I have one in my car if you want. I've done that. Don't be apologetic because they have said they want to buy your book. And so take them at their word. If they can't do it, if they don't want to do it, say, well, I'm busy, let it go, but it doesn't hurt to ask. It never hurts to ask. What do they say? It's like, it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. Well, I am giving you permission to ask. So, you want to have fun. Even if your topics are hard and heavy, you want to have fun with your opportunities. Not that we have to be jugglers or jesters, but it's just a way of being kind. You don't want to invite people over for dinner and give them hot dogs and baked beans, unless they're teenagers, and then that's totally appropriate. But you want people to enjoy being in your presence. So try to think of things you can. We did a session with Melissa once where she demonstrated how to use, I hope I get the word right, a lucent?
Lucid.
Lucette or lucent?
Lucette.
Okay, lucette. And it's a way to make braided cords of a kind. And it was so fun. And that's, oh gosh, that's a fun thing that she can do. She can share the skills she's learned with with readers, with other authors, with people who happen across her feed. That's wonderful. One thing I discovered, which I am going to be able to put in the chat because I remembered to have it up, is I discovered virtual bingo. Boom. And I put up a Waters Break bingo game, and where I took actually asked my launch team that was on Discord for input, and we came up with a bunch of words that would be a fun way to introduce them to Waters Break. So I don't know if you can see that. And through this virtual bingo thing, I was able to have order physical cards and have a virtual card. And it's even free, I think, even if you don't buy a lot. So I had a fun time. I'm going to read these off. If you've read any of my story, you'll recognize them. Let's see, what do we have here? We have Rissa, Nika, Choices versus Chosen, Finding Family, Not Mermaids, The Deep, Cranky Mentor, New Adult, Young Adult, Olomi, Not Cozy, Science Fantasy, Dune Fan, Avatar Way of Water fan, Seaweed. And I just mentioned a bunch of the words that I think were good things to discuss about my book. So if anybody had questions or whatever, it could raise a thought for them. So have fun with your events. I was encouraged that if I did physical events, to try to invite people to join in virtually. And so I always tried to have pictures or activities, raffles. I would just pick a name. So if you sign on for my mailing list, I'm going to enter you into a drawing, and one of you will win this, that, or the other thing. One bit of advice that I received is don't give away what you're trying to sell. So I have other author friends that I would give away copies of their book. And for online friends, I would give away an ebook copy of a friend's book. That way a rising tide does raise all ships. And it's always, get other people involved in your events. So these also all make great note cards. So if you need to scribble down stuff. But finally, I guess I would just say, or again, is like, don't be afraid to ask people for help, to be generous with your thanks. I love my launch team. I love my readers. Yes, I was generous with them. But they're being generous with me. I mean, asking somebody to spend time and money on my pretend world is a big ask. On the other hand, God planted a story in me that has meaning and that has value. I mean, honestly, my story has themes of resilience, of not allowing fear to control you. One of my quotes that I have is, we're often taken captive by force, but we're held captive by fear. That's an important thing, especially for the young adult audience, which is primarily the target and the new adult audience, for them to hear that even though, and don't let yourself be defined by your situation, by the people who are above you, even by the people who are around you. You need to remember who you were created to be. Those are important messages. And I didn't write Waters Break in order to preach those themes, but I discovered them as I was writing and editing and thinking about it. So if I'm going to be, once again, a good steward of this gift, I need to be able to be brave. I need to be willing to be a little foolish in the eyes of some people, and I need to take chances. And I would encourage you guys to take chances, to be a little foolish and to be brave, because God gave you that story and it's from God. So do the work and then share it with the world. I am willing to take any questions.
That
Would you
was
like to bring everybody back on?
That's great. I'd love to see people's faces.
All right.
definitely come
Come on
on.
in, everybody. If we took you off and you can't get on yourself, give us a heads up in the chat.
As always, just thank you for that, Sophia. You are always a big source of encouragement. I know for me, and I'm sure that there are quite a few people who share that sentiment too. I always appreciate your words. There's a lot of wisdom in that, and I think a lot of the authors who are watching the replay or here in live attendance can take away and apply to their circumstances where they're at right now.
And check out David's background. It's your book cover.
I love it. I love it.
Wonderful.
I will always crow that David was one of my first significant crit partners, and he's got a book coming out. He's actually got a trilogy coming out, and I'm so excited for it because I love that story, First Rough Draft. So, yay, David. He loves me making the spotlight go to him. He just loves that.
That's what happens when you're friends.
I will call out my friends in a heartbeat. Right, Kathy?
Are there any
I have a
questions?
question for you.
Okay.
In this journey in the past 3 months, what surprised you the most?
Okay. I'm going to share something that this surprised me because science fiction is kind of a niche market. Christian sci-fi is even more niche. And I heard, was it last week? The one on how to market books. She was talking about the fact that the average book sells 200 copies over its lifetime. And I sold over 200 in my pre-order period.
That's
I didn't
amazing.
know if that was good or bad. I have no idea of what the scale of things are. I was thrilled, and I know it's because of the opportunities. It's because of not giving up. It's because of being surrounded by people who encouraged me to try harder, to take risks, who provided me with opportunities. I'm dead serious. That cover reveal at Realm Makers blew the doors open and paved the way for Watersbreak to get on other people's radar, because everybody there saw my cover, which I did not draw. It was Kirk DuPont's, who is an amazing cover artist, and that was who Realm, my publisher Enclave, provided me with. So had all of those things not come together, I don't think I would have done that. I am so thankful for those opportunities. And that's why I say, if your publisher is being demanding, it's because they want the best for you. And you want a publisher that is going to challenge you, that is going to push you, because otherwise, why do you need them? My husband used to be an audio engineer in Nashville. And what he would do in the studio, especially with the singer, he'd do the take and he'd say, I think that was great. I think you have a better one in you. And so have that attitude. I did my best, but maybe I have a better one in me. You know, don't give up when somebody challenges you to up your game, because they want you to succeed, because your success is their success. And obviously they thought enough of what you pitched to them to think, wow, this would be worth my time and money, and it's not going to sink me. A business doesn't stay afloat if they have no return. They can't support you, they can't support themselves. So I would say take that advice and tell them, hey, this is really hard for me. Oh my gosh. My publisher gave me a list of things I was supposed to do. It was so intimidating and scary, and I just had to put it down. I just had to freak out. I needed to freak out for a while. I was like, because I didn't really know Instagram, and I started trying it and I started doing it, and it got easier. It's still not easy. It still takes me way too long to make a post or to do a story or to do a reel. But okay. But I'm learning, and I have friends that are really good at it. And I know that some people can do this thing on Canva, that they can make their posts on Canva and then it looks good and they have it ready to go. And I don't know how to do that. And I will do that eventually. I will learn. But I lost my train of thought. I'm just saying, do go ahead, do the things that are hard, and don't see your publisher as an enemy. See them as Gandalf. He's trying to help us.
Thank you, Sophia. Well, we're getting, no, we are at the top of the hour. Melissa, do you want to share what we have next week?
Yeah, actually, next week we are going to have Patricia Durgan come and talk about lead magnets and how they boost growth. So this will be a good one for those who may be contemplating or creating lead magnets, or maybe you've had one for a while and you need a new one. So she'll have some great advice to share. I know this is a favorite topic of hers, and we're looking forward to hearing from her and learning a little bit more about that. So yeah, join us next week. Again, Sophia, thank you so much. This has been awesome.
This has been fantastic.
Yeah, so much good stuff here. Definitely encourage everyone to, if you haven't been able to attend live, to watch the replay, revisit it. There's just gems to be picked out of this one. And we will also be sharing the chat for those who are interested in a lot of the resources that were mentioned during this recording. So you can go to the Writers Chat Facebook page and we'll share the chat there, and you can find that, download it, and get all those resources and go visit all those sites. It will be well worth your time to help you on your own writer's journey. As always, join us. Feel free to join us live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern to 12:15 p.m. And if you aren't a member, join Writers Chat Fiction, Writers Chat and Writers Chat Fiction if you're a fiction. We've got a subgroup, but it's not so secret. But yeah, Writers Chat members on Facebook. And for those who are here, you are welcome to stay with us for the after party and yet another perk that only members get. So if you want to join the after party and be a part of the fun, join the group today, and we'll share that link as well. Well, until next time, we'll talk to you then. Bye.
Bye.